Welcome to the Developing Professionalism series for microbiology. My name is Jerreme Jackson, and I'm seated here today with three undergraduate students who are currently at different stages in pursuit of their degrees in microbiology. And I'd like to start right now by having them introduce themselves, starting here to my right.
I'm Ashton Anders. I am a senior graduating in December. I am trying to go to law school.
I'm Jordan Fleming. I'm a junior, going to graduate not until next May in 2017, and I am looking to be an optometrist.
My name is Tanner. I'm a freshman here pursuing a degree in microbiology, and my goal eventually is to go to pharmacy school.
So I'd like to kick things off right now by having each of you just talk a little bit about why you selected microbiology of all the disciplines to pursue here at Oklahoma State. I'll let you go
Me first. Okay, cool. I actually came up here, had no idea what I wanted to do, but I know I wanted it to be science, and met with my freshman advisor, who turned out to be my pre-law advisor now. And she was like, I really think this is a good option. So I tried it out, and I actually love it. And it's been a challenge, but it's helping me pave my way into law school. So.
Well, for me, it was. I came into OSU, and I was actually started off as a finance major. I was kind of trying to look to be kind of like my uncle. He buys and sells natural gas. I thought optometry was kind of a little bit better for me. That's something I always wanted to do, even throughout high school. So I switched over to biology. I did that for about a year. I took intro to micro. Fell in love instantly. And the next semester I chose micro, and here I am now.
Well, I started out with the goal of pharmacy school, so I wanted to tailor my undergrad degree to be the best support for eventually going there. And after looking through all the biological sciences and all the chemistries, I decided on microbiology because most of the work that pharmacists do is antibiotic research, and the field of microbiology lays the best groundwork for building on top of that.
Okay, I'm probably the most unique in this group in that I most recently finished my doctorate at the University of Tennessee and had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Conway, the new department head, and discuss kind of our overlapping interests and why I would be a good fit in his laboratory, which led me to accepting a position offer from him as a postdoctoral associate in the microbiology department. So my career aspirations include going on to be a tenure track professor and ideally studying kind of the relationship between commensal microbial species in our intestine, as well as the human response to bacteria when they don't behave as we would like them. So the next thing I'd like to get into is kind of have each of you discuss if there are any things that you've done that may be unique to your pursuit of your microbiology degree, and for you that's law school. So we're curious to see anything that you've done that might kind of shed light on what up-and-coming undergrads may consider.
I actually am also a double major in philosophy, which is really nice because it gives it a little break from science and makes you think outside of the box, which is definitely helpful for law school. I actually did not know I wanted to go to law school. I was trying to figure out what am I going to do. I can't go to medical school. I can't compartmentalize myself and be a doctor. And spent an hour and a half crying on the phone to my mother because I had no idea what I was going to do with my life anymore. And I've always been that kid that knows every step of the plan, always. And I had no plan anymore, so I was freaking out. And she was like, you could always go to law school. I was like, no, I can't. I didn't pick the right major. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no way I can go to law school. And as I researched it a little bit more, fun fact, I can. And I've joined now a lot of philosophy clubs. I'm in a philosophy honor society. I'm in the pre-law club, fraternity on campus. And that's really, really helpful. And it's really interesting to see how different I am And just the way I talk normally, you know, talking about the microbes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Look what I learned in patho, and this is so cool. And everyone else is like, that's disgusting. You're weird. But I've also, because of this course actually, figured out that patent law is a good route to take. And I have an internship with the Technology Development Center on campus, and I actually do a lot of the work for patent lawyers so that they can take the research that is done on campus, turn it into patents and eventual startups. So that's kind of some of the things I've started to do to make, especially my resume, less of a science and more of a law, which has certainly been a challenge. So it's kind of...
Well, kind of like for me, I came into college and I was really kind of introverted a little bit. I didn't really kind of want to get out there and do really much of anything at all. But as time went on, I just kind of realized, you know, if I really wanted to kind of stand out a little bit, I gotta go out and do something. I gotta have to at least take a risk. And so I decided to start joining some groups. There was a pre-optometry student association that I decided to get into. I'm currently the secretary to that right now, and hopefully next year we'll see where I'm at. Hopefully I'm just going to try to be president doing that. Also, last year I heard of this group called SACNAS, which is the Society of Advancements for Chicanos, Hispanics, Native Americans for Science, and I kind of thought that was kind of an interesting deal. It entails all the STEM majors, and I felt like that was a little bit home for me, because finding something that entails a little bit of Native Americans like myself, I went and tried that out, and that was kind of like another feeling where I felt at home a little bit. So I decided to become a treasurer of that. So I'm currently holding 2 positions for 2 different clubs, and on top of that, doing a little bit of research that's another thing that kind of helped me out too. Doing a little research over a strain of chlamydia that is known to cause blindness in third world countries called through the eye disease called trachoma. So a lot of people don't really realize that chlamydia can actually cause blindness. But currently, applying to some internships, one in Minnesota, hopefully going to do a little bit of cancer biology, and one in North Carolina, which will kind of help me out later on. So that's where I'm at currently, and hopefully a few more doors can open for me.
Sounds like you're really busy.
I'm trying to be, man. It's trying to fit all this stuff in and a little schoolwork. I mean, it's a challenge sometimes, but if you're really determined enough, you can do it. You just got to really find the time to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, whenever I first came here, my first semester this year, I joined a ton of clubs, everything that caught my eye, and it did get really overwhelming, so I dropped off the fun stuff and only kept the stuff that would help further my goals and look good on resumes. And whenever I was trying to figure out which branch of pharmacy I wanted to go into, and there's a lot of branches, I eventually settled on research. And to get research experience, I talked to tons of professors, talked to my advisor, Dana, and I just got accepted into Dr. Petrauchen's lab, which does research over antibiotic resistance in Pseudomonas aeruginosa under varying environmental conditions such as high calcium environments. And that research will help look good on my resume whenever I'm applying for research internships and residencies after pharmacy school.
I really think it's fun being a part of a research lab. I mean, you learn so much doing that, and plus it really entails into some of your other courses, because I was in advanced micro last semester, and we went over chlamydia over that. I'm like, oh, well, this is already second nature. I already know what happens.
Well, I actually, when I graduated with a bachelor's in genetics, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to work. So I actually worked in industry for 2 different companies for 3 years each. And what I realized in my second job was that I was really inquisitive and was always asking the more senior individuals in the laboratories questions that they weren't necessarily obligated to answer. And so that was when I decided that maybe I should look into graduate school, so I could kind of develop the understanding and the know-how to answer these questions on my own. So one thing led to another. I applied to several schools and ended up going to University of Tennessee. And once I got there, you couldn't have convinced me that I would have studied insects for 5 years, but I did. And then upon graduating, you couldn't have convinced me that I'd end up back in the Midwest, but I am. And so I studied intestinal physiology and insects in graduate school, and I continue to study intestinal physiology and microbiology here. So that was the path that I took to get here. I'd also like for each of you to kind of discuss ways that you think undergraduates can explore opportunities in microbiology that don't necessarily involve, the more common routes that would be, medical school, dental school, things of that nature. Kind of give them an idea of, what they can do to explore those opportunities.
I would just say ask. Go meet people, not just in microbiology. Obviously, you need to make friends in microbiology. I have great friends that motivate me to go to class, motivate me to do better than I've previously done. And so that really, really helps in microbiology. But make friends in engineering. Make friends who are in a physiology major. Make business major friends. And just talk to them. Have those conversations. Okay, what are you planning to do? And really just ask and listen. Because just because they say, I'm going to go to law school or I'm going to go do this after, ask those questions and listen, and then go talk to your advisor. Go talk to those people in career services and just ask, is this a possibility? Just keep your mind and your options open. Once you are a biology major and you say, I want to go pre-health, don't just close mind and full track. If you find out that's really, really what you want to do, then by all means, go. There are plenty of people to help you along that journey. But if you aren't really sure, you get into research and you get into lab and you're like, okay, I kind of enjoy this, but I don't know that that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, well, don't put the blinders on. Just ask questions. People have plenty to say and want to tell you about what they're doing, as long as you're willing to ask and listen.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing for a lot of people to do because a lot of people have problems of keeping an open mind. What I would say is do some research, what you can do. Google's not a bad tool. I've learned a lot actually. Even though I'm really focusing on trying to be an optometrist, I've still Googled just curious to see what's happening around the world that you can do with a microbiology degree. Like you said, just ask your friends. I know a lot of engineers. Some of them are biosystems, and that being a microbiologist, I mean, you can go hand in hand with that. You could work together in the same company. My friend, he's worrying about crops, and you could potentially probably make some strain that could actually keep them from make them be drought resistant and stuff like that. Just ask around, keep an open mind. That's probably going to be the toughest thing, is keeping that open mind. Do your research, ask for help whenever you need it. Just don't be scared, really. So.
Well, initially, whenever I decided on a microbiology degree, I thought the overall field was really limited to just microorganisms or medical or grad school. But yeah, using Google, talking to the advisors, the professors, the TAs even, you find out that there's a lot more than just medical and graduate school for microbiology. You can go work for Budweiser of companies, and like what I'm doing with pharmacy, there's all of the pharmacy schools require microbiology classes over other classes. Whenever you're looking at them, microbiology is always most common. Some, yes, they require math and those, but all of them require microbiology. So that lays a good foundation. And the field of pharmacy, what I'm going to, is really vast. You have your normal retail clinical pharmacy, but you also have ambulatory care pharmacies like emergency response pharmacists who will go to places where natural disasters have occurred and operate in there, like in the nuclear reactors in Japan that were damaged because of the earthquake. Part of the response team was pharmacists. And there's also nuclear pharmacy, which focuses on using nuclear elements to treat diseases like cancer.
If I had any advice, I would say to students, don't be discouraged if what you're interested in isn't what your friends are interested in, because that's typically part of the process of carving your own niche, right? We can't carve a niche if someone has already carved it for us, right? So with that in mind, I encourage students who are interested in graduate school but don't necessarily know where to begin looking, is to, you guys have all given really good ideas. That is, look on the internet. I would also suggest just reading papers. You can pick popular science, where it's kind of written for general public, but it's also written so that you can understand what's going on. These are great ways to kind of figure out what sort of research is actually going on the academic setting. And then from there, you just do the things that you would typically do. Send emails, inquiries to different professors. You can email students that work for professors that you may be considering contacting. All those are good things to consider doing when searching for graduate school, because there's really no clear-cut way to end up there. So in closing, I'd like to thank Ashton, Jordan, and Tanner for taking time today to discuss the different career paths they've chosen in microbiology. For those of you that are considering microbiology, we hope you find this video helpful, and we hope to see you in the future.